Hey, welcome everybody to another episode of Becoming a Cop on YouTube. We are also part of policebackground.net, prep number 4 duty.com, the police applicant podcast, and a host of other things. We have so much stuff that we can do. Donovan alone has, I don't even know how many projects Donovan has, but he's going to take over the background world with all the ideas that you have. Donovan, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Ken. I love being here.
The energy could light a city. Donovan gets so excited. Slow your roll.
You want to bounce off the walls or what? A little disappointed Rob's not here tonight.
Rob is he's doing academy stuff.
I know. I don't think he likes me.
Well, he has. I don't think he's only been on one show with you. So
I know. One show. That's it.
Rob, come back, Rob. So tonight's episode is going to be really cool. It's going to be about the oral interview. And the amazing thing is I have no plans to offer insight because I suck at oral interviews and I'm just not very good. I'm the last guy you want to get oral interview prep from. But I will tell you this, that Donovan offers oral interview prep. He's an expert. He mentors people. And you have like a 150% success rate on your oral interview stuff.
Yeah, 150%. I don't know if I could actually come up with that number, Ken. That's really some math you got going on there, Ken.
I'm mathing. I'm mathing good. And we want you guys to also, Donovan and I co-host the Police Applicant Podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We have episodes coming out every 2 weeks. Plus, we also have subscriber stuff that's pretty cool. So we hope you guys get into that. But what we want to do right now, before we get started, I'm going to be pulling this up every once in a while. Donovan actually has a book called Mastering the Police Interview Guide for Aspiring Officers. And he has this book and he has a workbook and he has the book and the workbook. And then you also offer in-person like virtual coaching as well.
Correct.
So if you want to buy the book, there's a QR code. It's very, very, very affordable and it offers a crap ton of information. So throughout the night, I'm going to be putting that up. So we should get started. I have a question to start out with.
All right, give it to me.
I think this is a good question. And then I have another question. So I don't want to hog the show, but here's the question I have just out the gate. How personal should you get when someone asks you why you want to join law enforcement?
Why you want to join law enforcement? Well, the last thing you want to do is you want to walk in and you want to say, I want to give back to my community or I want to make a difference. I mean, if you didn't want that, then there's no reason to be in law enforcement, right?
Yeah.
That's just a generic answer. What I always tell people is try to find, and I know you kind of asked, do you get personal? Try to find your personal connection with it. Because to me as an interviewer, when I sat on the interview panel, every time someone answered a question, I was always looking at what is going to continue to bring this person back to work day after day in this profession, because it's a tough profession. You see the worst of the worst, right? And we want to make sure that that person's going to come back day after day. So you probably heard, if you're listening to any police podcasts, instructors talking about your why. What is your why? Why are you in law enforcement? What gives you that driving force? And you have to figure out what that is. What's making you apply for that position in law enforcement? So I always tell people, just go back through your history, figure out what's your personal connection. You had to have something in your life that connected you with law enforcement. Doesn't have to be, right off the bat. Doesn't have to be, they made actual contact with you. You could have seen something, not watching Chips, but seen something in real life. But what's your personal connection? When I talk to candidates, when I'm coaching them, I always say, hey, was there someone in your family who's in law enforcement? That's one that'll give you that kind of personal why. Did you have a school resource officer out there? that you would see on a daily basis, either talk to or see them deal with the students, and you're like, hey, I want to be something like that? Or did you have some sort of any kind of contact with law enforcement? I just had someone that, yeah, they had contact with law enforcement. It wasn't on the best day of their life because they made a mistake, but they said through that whole incident with the officer, they were treated with respect at a bad time in their life. And they're like, you know what? That just made me want to do the same thing because I'm going to run into people who are having a bad day. And I at least want them to feel as though they're a human while they're still going through something like that. So getting that personal connection, figuring out what your why is, what's going to bring you back day after day.
And my question was, and this has always been my question, but there a lot of times the oral interview boards or people ask you, tell us about yourself. And
Mhm.
immediately my mind goes to, oh, I went to school and I live in this city and I like sunsets and walks in the park, and I was told they don't want to hear how syrupy your life is. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. This is your starting point. Normally, tell us about yourself is normally the first question if a interview panel uses it. You're going to set the tone now for the whole interview. This is not a big long answer. If you go more than 2 minutes about talking about yourself in this question, you've lost the panel. You want to keep it short. You want to tell them very quickly your journey, though. I always tell people if you've grown up, tell the panel where you've grown up, because you never know. Now people are traveling across the country to take jobs. You never know if you're going to have a connection that way. Be proud of where you graduated from high school. Doesn't matter if it's in a different state. You might form a connection with someone on that board because they know that high school, they went to that high school. Same thing with college. Again, it's just, hey, I grew up here. I graduated from this high school, graduated from this college with this degree. You don't have to get involved in too much because it's going to come out in the interview as you move on. You can talk about a couple of your strengths. Hey, while I was in this position, I kind of learned how to do de escalation, but this is just all highlights of your life. Again, 2 minutes max. Anything more than 2 minutes, you're going to lose that oral board panel. So just hit the highlights. I always say that's the best place where you can. Uh, no other way to say it, but name drop your school, your city you grew up in, all that, because you might make a connection. As soon as you have a connection with someone on that oral board interview panel, they're going to fight for you till the end as long as you do a decent job.
Are they going to want any kind of connection to the area, to the department, or anything like that, where they go, oh, this is like a hometown person. They're going to stick around.
I think that hometown feeling has kind of gone away. Do departments like to have hometown people? Absolutely. They're going to want that. Does it go against you that if you're not hometown? Not at all. Again, the people are traveling so far for jobs now, moving across the country. It's not like the old days where you were always going to be a cop wherever you grew up.
Hmm. And are they? What was the question I was going to ask you about the oral entry? Oh, are they still doing an opening statement? Do you have to have something prepared?
Every oral board panel is going to be different. Any of the ones that I've been involved in, I've never had them do an oral statement, opening statement, because it's just a waste of time, I think.
Hmm.
To me, being a panelist, I want to ask my questions, I want to get the answers, and I want to move on. Because most oral board panels that I've been involved in, we're doing at least 10 interviews a day, and the more concise they can be, the better. So I have not in and all the ones that I've coached so far, I haven't heard anyone say that they needed to have any kind of a opening statement prepared.
Should you just in case have one prepared, or should you call the department and ask them what's the requirements?
You can try to ask the recruiter. Normally, departments aren't going to tell you what questions are, what to prepare for. I always tell people, man, if you prepare for the tell us about yourself, that's going to be the number one. Most departments are going to ask you that. If you have to do some sort of an opening statement, it's going to be just grabbing some things from some of the answers that you prepare, things that we talk about in my coaching session. Telling about yourself, what you know about the department, why you want to be a cop, why you're prepared to be a cop, that kind of thing.
Cool. And as far as dress code goes,
Do we have to even talk about that, Ken? It
well,
has it has not changed. Shirt and tie. If you got a suit, if you got to borrow a suit, if you got to go to Goodwill and get a suit, wear a suit. But if you don't have a suit and you got a shirt and a tie, there's nothing wrong with that. Um, for the ladies, business professional, so that it's whether you wear a pantsuit or a business skirt or whatever, be professional going into this. I mean, I sat on an oral board panel and my HR person came over to me as she was getting ready to bring someone in. She's like, "Hey, I got someone wearing a hoodie and jeans." And I actually stepped out. I said, "Why don't you leave and try to reschedule because you're not going to pass this interview with what you're wearing," and
but
send them on their way.
Donovan,
Doesn't
today's
matter.
youth, you tell them, business or business casual,
Hmm.
and what do you see that means to the young people today?
Well, business casual now has now opened up to jeans,
Is
which
that a real
shocked me.
thing?
I, I've I've looked online. Some places do say that jeans are acceptable for business casual with no rips, tears, holes, or anything like that. I disagree with it. I don't think that's business casual, but I would say do not show up to your interview in business casual. You need to be in full business attire.
Do you send them home when they don't show up in business attire?
For oral board,
Yeah.
it'll depend. I mean, if it's just outlandish, absolutely, I'll send them because I know they're not ready for it. Like I said, a hoodie, sweatshirt, and jeans. That person was not anywhere near prepared.
No. And so I'm just gonna say the last thing is if you come in business, if you don't come in business attire, then you personally, my opinion is that you should not be there. You need to be in shirt and tie. If you have a jacket, wear one.
Mhm.
Ladies, if you have a business suit, I would pull that out and use it because if you're applying it more than one place, you're gonna need it
Right.
anyways.
Right. And again, I said use Goodwill, but if you're in college, go to your they always have those places on campus that help you find jobs. I forget what they're called. It's I'm losing it right now. But those places that have like the job connections, they are now all starting up what are called business closets, where
Hmm.
business people are donating their clothes that they were just going to get rid of anyway, suits, business attire for women, and allowing the students to grab something from there so they can go into these interviews looking professional so that they're prepared.
Yeah. And let's talk about the gentleman. Let's talk about the gentleman as far as their facial hair.
Mhm.
Um, I have had candidates that have shaved their mustaches and made themselves completely clean shaven. Um, what do you think about beards or this scruffy thing that goes on that doesn't quite uh, you know, take effect on their face that they're trying to call it a beard, but it's just these little curly hairs everywhere.
Mhm.
Um, Mustaches that aren't groomed. What's your opinion on that?
Well, so the agency I had worked for, we didn't allow beards. So if you walked in with a beard, that was already a count against you because you didn't do any research as to what our dress code is.
Mhm.
All you had to do is take a second, go on Facebook, and you can see there wasn't an officer in any picture that had a beard. So do your research on that. Find out what's acceptable for that agency. If beards aren't acceptable and you want to work there, then ditch the beard.
W-
It's like
What
I
if it's
did.
a Donovan shaved this week? What if it's a nicely groomed beard?
I mean, if it's nicely groomed beard, okay. But again, if you're walking into an agency that doesn't allow beards, again, you're already putting yourself behind the eight ball in that. If it is an agency that allows beards, then yeah, make sure it's nicely groomed so it looks professional. If you just grow little peach fuzz patches, it doesn't matter if they allow beards or not. Get rid of it. It's not going to look professional.
Okay, so in your opinion, regardless of whether the department allows beards or doesn't allow beards, what's your opinion on facial hair, mustaches, and beards?
Be well groomed.
What does that mean?
Well, make sure. I mean, if you're going to have it, have it trimmed up, make it look nice.
Okay.
I mean, I mean, is that what you're looking for, Ken? I don't know. I mean,
I have an opinion. I have an opinion that
you have an opinion to get rid of it for any interview, right?
yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure so much about the mustache.
Oh, you're
But
fighting for the mustache.
no,
Okay.
no, I'm saying I
All
don't know
right.
so much. Do you want to get all hardcore like that for an interview? But I think I absolutely the facial hair, the beards, I think you need to get rid of that for an oral interview. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah. I mean, to me, I mean, I've talked to people that go all which way on it. I mean, you'll have people on the interview or the oral board that actually have beards and they don't mind. So
Yeah.
it all comes down to that. What do they want from you? So just thinking to me is just know what the department's expectation is for you in uniform. And if it's no beards, don't have a beard.
That's a good clue.
Yeah.
Should you go in short sleeves?
Again, if you're in business attire, you wouldn't be in short sleeves at all. You'd have a nice dress shirt on with a tie, and you'd have a jacket on if you have that. But for the love of God, don't wear a short sleeve dress shirt and a tie.
Okay.
Not good.
Okay. All right. So what about if you can you prep yourself the night before? You need to get good sleep and all that kind of stuff, or can you just go in there and kind of wing it?
No, and coming in for an interview, you got to get a good night's sleep. You got to make sure that you eat a good breakfast. If it's after lunch, eat a good lunch. Um, Try to make sure that everything's off your plate as far as there's no stressors out there for you. You need to take the day off from work. Um, I would tell you by all means, if you work graveyard shift and you schedule your interview uh, for the daytime, don't work the night before. Take the night off so you get a good night's sleep. You got to do everything to put yourself in the best frame of mind because they want to see how you're going to respond to a lot of questions, almost rapid fire towards you. So,
Okay. And what's your opinion on besides taking your class? I mean, I'm talking about a
mhm.
class or getting mentored one on one with you. What do you think about these guys going on Reddit and all these other places and going, hey, so I'm going to take an oral interview, and then you get 500 opinions about people. What's should people actually research the oral interview, or should they look for solid places like yours that actually can offer real world experience?
Obviously, I'm going to say that you need to look for those that offer the professional information, those who have done it. You go on Reddit, you go on Facebook, you go in all these groups and say, "Hey, I got an oral interview with this place. What should I prepare for?" You don't know who's responding to your questions. You don't
Right.
know who's it could be the angriest person around. I mean, it's the keyboard warrior out there. I always tell people and I've said it even on here, stay off of Reddit for the love of God. It's
Just did.
it's the danger zone. I mean, and Facebook isn't much better. So, look for something reputable to get out there. If you want to use my services, use my services. If you just want to use the book, that's fine. There's other people out there. If you don't trust me, um, but use something that's reputable. Don't just go out there. You don't know who you're getting your information from.
So, as far as the panel goes, who are these people?
It can vary. Every department's different. Like the agencies I was involved in, most of the time it was a supervisor, someone from either the recruiting and backgrounds, and then an officer or someone from FTO. Some agencies are going to bring someone in from the community, a
Mhm.
civilian to come in
Mhm.
and interview someone from their civil service commission. So there's a bunch of different people who can sit on it. You just never know. So you got to prepare for anything that they're going to throw at you, especially if you have someone who's a civilian sitting on the panel. They may throw you an off the wall question that you're just like, Where did that even come from?" And then don't ever be shocked. There may be a person sitting in the back of the room. And I've had that at a couple agencies where
Hmm.
it's someone from human resources, and they're there to make sure that the process is being run fairly, that there's no extra questions being thrown in, because most places everyone has to receive the same questions throughout the process. but they also want to make sure that you're not asking questions that you're not allowed to ask. Are you married? What's your
Mm.
religion? All that kind of stuff. So
Are the questions pretty much pre-planned? Every candidate gets the same question type of thing?
yeah, most oral boards you're gonna have they get a packet of, like, if you have 10 interviews, you have 10 packets of all the same paperwork, all the same questions. The way I did it is that day, the same person read the same question throughout the entire process.
Hmm.
So we try to
And
keep it as equal as possible
how are oral interviews scored?
across the board. Some agencies do a rating from either 1 to 5, 1 to 10. Some agencies just do a pass fail, and some agencies are just like, I don't know how they do. So it's what the Civil Service Board sets up, what your agency sets up. Um, it's one of those things you may never even know how they do it. Uh, a lot of agencies who base their entire process on scoring, they're going to be using that scoring uh, matrix, like the 1 to 5, the 1 to 10. Agency I was at, I mean, we did pass fail,
Oh, pass fail.
and you had to pass 70% of the questions.
So they aren't um scored like on a 1 to 100.
There might be some that score 1 to 100. Everyone, like I said, everyone's different. I mean, you're talking how many thousands of police agencies across the country when it comes to this oral board. Everyone has their own idea. So the main ones I've seen, if they're scoring, they're using 1 to 5 or 1 to 10.
How does that work, the 1 to 5?
Like 5 is like the average answer, or I'm sorry, 3 is the average answer. Anything better than, the average goes up to 4 or 5. Anything below is a 2 or a 1. Not saying anything is a 0.
Okay. Now on those, do they still do the do they still rank candidates based on their oral interview scores?
Again, you're looking at, it's a different time now, Ken.
I want to know
It's,
everything.
yeah, I know, but it's a different time. The rankings, a lot of agencies have gotten rid of the rankings because they just need to hire so many people. Like the agency I was at, we didn't even have rankings. We interviewed everyone. If whoever passed just moved on, we didn't even worry about ranking.
So it sounds like agencies are coming in my direction where the oral interview is just, hey, just do the oral interview, man.
Some agencies are ranking them. It just,
So,
and when it comes to oral interviews, some agencies aren't even doing them anymore.
oh yeah, that's true.
I mean,
Because they're coming to my
firsthand
side.
knowledge, Seattle PD is not doing the oral interview anymore.
And what's the purpose? What's the reason for that? Not the purpose.
In reality, I think it's to speed the process up.
But I see it as and this is just my opinion, Donovan.
Mm-hmm.
But I see oral interviews as like a dog and pony show. You have to go in there. You have to do the tap
Not one
dance
bit.
and stuff.
Not one bit. I
Tell
disagree.
Me, tell me why.
I think the oral interview is important because that's your first look at this candidate. You get to see how they are actually going to operate under some sort of pressure. Agencies that don't use oral interview, their first time meeting that candidate is a background investigator, one person from your agency.
But what if they suck?
What do you mean? What if they suck?
What if the candidate sucks at their oral interview, but they could be a good cop?
Then you need to work on your oral interview skills.
Aha.
Or you find an agency that doesn't do oral interviews.
Yeah, I can see where they would go. Hey, so this is the type of person they are. If they're timid, they're shy, or they're assertive. So here's another question. How do you balance being confident versus arrogant?
That's one of those things where it's tough, right? The arrogance comes in when you come in acting like you're one of the boys or one of the members of the group. Start talking police talk, giving 10 codes, that kind of thing. That starts becoming arrogance. That, I've been around, and I've had people who've just been security officers coming in. Oh, I've been there, I've done that, and you're not going to really sell yourself that way. Coming in and just giving a rock solid oral interview is going to show that you have the confidence.
Hmm.
And one thing that comes up, and a guy that I communicate with on LinkedIn, Brian's Stamfel, he's a retired SPD sergeant from Seattle Police Department. He actually does a lot of coaching for the promotional process. And
Mhm.
I love how he put it. He said the oral board isn't a knowledge test. It doesn't matter what you know, but it's more of a performance under pressure test. See how you can handle the pressure. The oral boards aren't looking for a perfect answer. They're looking for you to make it through and give something that's something they can do something with, right? They don't expect you to understand police work, but they want to see how you handle the pressure of the questions that are coming at you.
Hmm. Okay.
Uh-oh. What you're thinking, Ken?
I'm always thinking. So as far as the interview goes,
Mhm.
do you get a good feel for a candidate based on their oral interview? I mean, as far as how they're going to go in the process and things like that.
I mean, I would say you want to, being that interview, you want to get that good feel. I've had people come through and man, they're just rock solid. You're like, man, this is going to be a great candidate. But then we know what happens. What's the next step after that, Ken? They turn in that personal history statement, and then
Hmm.
it's just a train wreck.
Yeah.
And I agree. I think there's some people that we lose, good people we lose in the oral interview process. Not going to deny it. But this is a communication business, right?
Hmm.
Law enforcement, you have to be able to communicate. If you can't communicate during an oral board interview, how are you going to communicate under pressure in the field?
But even if they crap out on the interview, it's not the end of the world.
Not the end of the world. No.
They can go get coaching, buy
Yep.
your book, everything like that, and go back again and ace the interview.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I've talked to a couple that struggled. We've gone through the coaching. I've gotten them set up for a couple base questions that they can start pulling all their ideas into new questions that are thrown at them, and they've been successful.
Okay. What do you do during your mentoring or your one-on-ones with people? What's the steps in that process?
Once they're all scheduled, they're on the books, everything, all the paperwork's been taken care of. They do get a copy of the ebook and the workbook so that they can start preparing that way. But then when we get into our meeting, we just go over like 5 or 6 basic questions, talk about how to formulate them, and we start digging into them a little bit. When we talk about, tell me about yourself, we'll break it down. I'll say, all right, tell me about yourself, and we'll break down what's important, what's not important. We really dive into why you want to be a police officer.
Hmm.
And I've had so many come in and say, "Look, I want to do something. I want to help my community out, or I want to make a difference in someone's life." And then we start talking about it, and we're able to peel back that onion and figure out really the root why they wanted to be a police officer. There was something in their life that got them to want to be part of the law enforcement community, and we're able to figure that out so they can formulate an answer that's going to uh, set them out from all the other applicants who are saying that they just want to, they want to help out the community. So, and we just go through the questions and we hit, the um, tell us about yourself, why you want to be a police officer, what you know about the agency,
Hmm.
and then we talk about formulating situational and behavioral questions. Because I mean, there's so many of those situational behavioral questions we can't honestly hit every one of them, but we talk about, all right, when you're doing this, let's think about a process to answer any question that's thrown at you. And I help them walk through that.
Do you do you think that questions for the interview should contain things like tell us the core mission statement of the department, tell us the demographics of the city, things like that?
No. And I don't know that agencies are doing that anymore unless they provide, hey, here's some study materials. Um, but I will. And I mean, am I letting the cat out of the bag, giving away some of my secrets? Yeah, a little bit. When we talk about what do you know about the agency, I've had people, oh, the chief is this, you have this many officers, you cover this many square miles, and they're going on and on with all these stats. Oh, your crime stats are this. And I'm like, you're boring me just talking to me right now. The panel knows that. They want to know what you really know about the agency. So talking about, hey, give them a couple of quick things. Yeah, the chief is this, you have this many officers. These are the specialties you have. Might be interested in one of these specialties. And then I always tell everyone, look at the course, the vision statement, the mission statement. Look at the core values. Incorporate that into that. You know, you don't have to memorize it, but tell them, hey, I was on your site, I reviewed it, and this is one thing that stuck out. Integrity is always in a vision statement or a mission statement or core values. Hit on integrity, hit on um, uh, any of the hard things that are out there, building, working with the community. Hit on those kind of things, what you know about the department, and then get to their social media. And on their social media, find out how they're connected with the community. You can sit there and say, I want to be part of the community with this department. And then you didn't do your research and you know nothing what they do. Did they do shop with a cop? Did they go out and do national night out? Do they do coffee with a cop? Do they do anything with Special Olympics or law enforcement torch run? If you can start saying, hey, I've seen you guys involved in this. I want to be part of that. That draws me into that community, right? That helps your answer as to why you want to work at that department. Now you're giving it that personal flair that's going to stand out above everyone else. For the love of God, don't go in and say, I don't know anything. I signed up for the interview and I didn't even drive around the city before I got here.
Okay. So what are your like top 3 tips?
Oh boy, top 3 tips.
Yeah.
For
like giving away the
top 3 tips would be practice, practice, practice.
Yeah.
I mean, you can find questions all over the internet if you want. And if you want to start working on what your answers are going to be for them, practice them. Practice several different types of questions, but you have to be able to be in that mindset that if they give you a question you haven't really heard, you have to figure out where to draw that information from. Was that 3? Practice, practice, practice was 3, wasn't it?
That was 3.
It is. It really comes down to that, just practicing. And you don't want to sound like you memorized your answers, especially with tell me about yourself, why you want to be a police officer. It's got to be conversational. You have to be able to have a conversation, not recite things like a robot.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. Oral interviews are just tough. I mean, it's very nerve-wracking. And
yep.
And what about, can you gauge anything from the interviewer's facial expressions, or is everybody just like stone-faced?
Boy, that's tough because, everyone that has interviewed in front of me, they have always, if they get hired, they always will tell me, hey, I thought you hated me during the oral board interview because I was just very, everyone came in and everyone, no smile, no nothing, just worked on down the list. But there are some people on the oral board interview panel who will show some emotion. They'll show, hey, yeah, I'm really liking what you're saying, that kind of thing. So you can get that connection. Does it help out the candidate if you can see that little bit of feedback? It does. If you can handle that type of feedback. I've seen some people get that feedback that, hey, I'm doing really well. Now they're part of the group. Now it becomes more of a good old boy conversation and not an interview. And then they kind of start losing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I mean, we could talk about a lot of stuff, but I don't want to give away your book or your
well, it's fine. Let's talk about this. I mean, because we talk about it's a stressful thing, right? What happens if you freeze in the middle of an oral board? I mean, that's a nightmare. Right? All of a sudden you're just like, either you forgot what you were saying. I've been in an oral board interview where I just get lost in my answer. I don't even know what I'm answering anymore. And again, how you handle that is going to show how you're going to handle the stress in the field. And it's one of those things. Some people, I've just seen someone just say, I'm lost. I don't know. Let's move on. That's not going to work. So if you freeze or you start losing what you were saying, and just take that moment, take a breath, stop. Just stop for a second. And it doesn't hurt to just say, "Hey, look, let me just stop here for a moment. I want to make sure that I'm answering the question." If you need to repeat the question to them so that you can start formulating your answer, repeat it and then start getting into the question. Just take that step. And it doesn't hurt to just say, "Hey, look, I'm getting off track or whatever. Just give me a moment. All right. Take that breath and then move forward and start getting your answer formulated so that you can give them the answer that they are looking for."
Hmm. Okay.
Biggest thing is like, just slow down during this. There's no reason you don't have to speed through it. If you take a minute, if they ask you a question, there's nothing wrong with, I just give me a second. I just need to just figure out what I'm trying to say here. It's fine. We all understand it. Again, this is about it's a performance test. It really is.
Do you have candidates that are they try so hard, they come in and you ask a question, and then with with their answers, they sound like gibberish because they're trying to answer the question, but really they didn't
Mhm.
pause for a minute.
They didn't. I've seen some people go. I mean, you could just. It was that plane falling out of the sky. You're just watching it go. I mean, they're just talking. All of a sudden, they start talking, and they're going on about something that means nothing to what the question asked was. And it's hard as an being on the panel. It's tough to watch that. You want to just like say, "Hey, hold on, stop," but you can't because you got to treat everyone the same, and you got to see how they handle the pressure.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Well, I mean, that was that's pretty much all the questions I had.
Really?
Yeah. Do you have anything else
Well, I
that
mean,
you
come
want to
on,
add?
let's talk.
Come on.
Let's talk, Ken.
Let's
Let's
talk.
talk. I'm not giving away all my secrets, but there's nothing like there's like no top secret stuff here. I when I coach someone, I'm helping them formulate answers and coming up with a good strategy when they're going into that oral board interview. So I tell a lot of people when it comes to like situational behavioral questions, um, is use a method. It's called the STAR method
Start.
to set up your uh, answer. And the STAR method is basically it's situation, what the task is, what action you took, and then what the result was. This is great when it comes to those situational questions or those behavioral. You lay out what the situation was. If they're asking you when you dealt with someone who was causing a problem, how are you going to handle that? Right?
Hmm.
Talk about the situation. Hey, I was working as a security guy in a local store. Customer came in, bought some stuff when they were leaving. They were asked to see their receipt because we do that at the door with everyone, and they got upset and started raising their voice at the employee and didn't want to cooperate. So I had to step in. They called me. I had to step in to de-escalate that situation. Right? That's the task. That's my task now. Then we talk on the action. What did you do? What did you do to de-escalate it? So you just tell them, hey, I had a conversation with them. I explained our policy. I told them why and how this keeps the prices down, whatever your explanation was. And then just let the panel know what the result was. Hey, guy said he didn't agree with it, but he understood where I was coming from. We shook hands and he went on his merry way. You know, so you can go through every question using the STAR method. That to me is one of the best.
So, what about? I feel like sometimes people ask questions like, "What? Tell us about one of your weaknesses."
Oh, that's a good
Go-
one.
I don't want to. I don't want to tell you one of my weaknesses.
What's what's the HR response? What is when they always say like human resources when they used to interview for them? What did they say human resources would suggest to be a weakness? Do you remember, Ken?
No,
They would always say use something that you can turn into a positive or a
that's too
strength.
hard. That's too hard,
I'm too organized. My boss says I
man.
get my work done too quickly. Okay. That's not a weakness. When you're going into these oral board interviews, they're looking at how you perform, but they're also looking for integrity. Can you be honest? Are you someone who can learn that something is wrong and that you need to fix it? Um, to me, an easy one is when you talk about communication and de-escalation. I don't know anyone that is the perfect communicator. Um, if you have someone who's come from a different country and English isn't their first language, that's easy. Hey, I'm working on my English so that I can communicate better. I don't always have the right words, so I'm trying to figure out how to get that quicker. And I'm always working on it. I took this job on in order to work on my de-escalation skills. I had someone talk about that they started driving Uber so that they'd have more contact with the public, knowing that it would be positive and negative contacts, which allowed them to work on de-escalation skills. So there's so many different things you can do, but be honest about it. You want to make sure that it's nothing that's going to be detrimental to the job, right? You can't come in and say, "Hey, I'm an alcoholic," right?
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That you don't want to do that. I drink too much, right? I party too much. You don't want to do that. But coming in and being honest about something that you're working on, yep, it's a shortcoming of mine. I'm working on it. Even report writing. I know my report writing skills aren't where they need to be because maybe I'm a security officer and my boss says, "Hey, I needed to work on this. I've taken some classes. My boss is saying I'm showing improvement and I continue to work on it so that I can be ready for when I get this job."
Okay.
See how you make the negative still a positive, right? You're being honest, but you're always showing that you're working it. Don't ever go in saying, "Hey, my weakness is this and I'm doing nothing about it."
Yeah. Um, yeah, those are good.
Don't go in and say, I don't work out.
I don't work out. Sometimes I get mad and I lose my temper and I beat the crap out of people.
Yeah. You gotta pick it so that it's something that's not going to disqualify you, right? But again, there's so many weaknesses out there that you can be working on that show it's a positive thing yet for law enforcement.
We have oh, here, check this out.
I was gonna say, we
First
can
off,
have some comments.
mine asked me, what are some things we can do better to connect our community?
Mhm. That's a good question. I like that one.
That's a good
I
question.
wish he was on here so we could find out how he answered. I mean, boy, the biggest thing is doing community events. Talking about that, right? Getting out of the car. I don't know if you knew how to do that in LA, Ken. Get out of the car and walk around and talk to people.
If we had time to get out of the car, that was the
Right.
hold up on that.
But getting out of the car, talking to the community, that's a great question. I love that. There's so many different ways you could go with that one.
Also, check this out. What's going on here, Donovan?
I did. See, I told you.
What do you think?
I'm growing it back.
Well, okay, he wants to grow it back. What do you think about the look? I like this clean look.
It's been a couple of years since you saw it, hasn't it?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think it looks good. Also, they also say some people stutter. It's tough. Like you said, practice, practice, practice.
Yeah. Yep. Stuttering's a big one. It's just a lot of practice.
Yeah. Let's see here. One thing stumps me is tell me about yourself. We just talked about that, but we can go over that a little bit again since that's a comment.
Yeah. When they ask you, tell me about yourself or tell us about yourself, that really it's your first. I always tell people, and not to say that, we're used cars, but it's the easiest analogy I have. You got to put it on your used car salesman hat. Because if anyone can sell an old clunker, they're going to be successful, right? So if you can sell yourself, you're going to be successful, and that's what you got to do. But you got to do it in 2 minutes. You can't bore them. I've had people go on 5-6 minutes, and I'm falling asleep in my seat. I'm doodling, all that kind of stuff because they have lost me. So it's just a very quick history of yourself. You don't have to get into details. Where you were born, where you grew up, where you went to high school, where you went to college, what you did professionally, if there's any highlights at all, and just kind of wrap it up there and say, I'm just looking to get into law enforcement now.
Okay. Here's something. When I applied for an internship for sheriff's office, they asked me, what's 21st century? I'm guessing 21st century policing.
That's probably what they're trying to say. Yeah. Holy mackerel. That's a loaded question right there. Right.
I don't even know what that means.
My guess is they're looking for, technology coming into it, being more connected with the community, those kind of things. Look at how you Started off in policing and changed it 120%.
But what is that? I know, but 21st century policing, I think like drones, do they
Yeah.
still do community policing? Do they still I think about technology. Is that off?
It's technology and it's community oriented policing. That's really what 21st century policing is, I believe. That's my take on it.
Okay. I mean, but you don't ask that question.
I don't ask that question. No,
Okay.
that's a tough question. There's so many different answers you can come up with on that one.
Well, I'm assuming that there could be body cams, it could be AI, it could be
Right.
drones, it could be all kinds. It's 21st century. Are there any new ideas that have come out with regard to policing that would come up in an oral board? Like the methodology, the ideas, stuff like that?
Nothing outside of I guess the woke classes that are out there. But you know what I'm talking
Woke
about.
class.
You know what I'm talking about. All those classes they make us take now.
Well, that's 21st century. Is that 21st
Yeah,
century policing though, or is that more like a culture?
yeah, yeah. But otherwise, I mean, Sir Robert Peel's principles still stand tall in law enforcement. I mean, there's not a whole lot different other than working more intertwined with the community and technology.
Yeah. Um, let's see here. When I went in, the officer was very serious and showed zero emotion, just focused on answering and moved on.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, I was that person that just was very serious.
Why
Um,
though? But why? Why did you do that?
I wanted to be fair to everyone. I didn't want someone coming in and getting a good vibe from me because they're really answering stuff and really kind of help them through the process. Where if someone else came in and they were bombing, and I'm just sitting there like, oh God, please help me. I just wanted to keep it very, very neutral for everyone. But when they say the just focused on answering and then moved on, a lot of agencies don't even allow follow up questions
From the board.
from the board. Yeah, from the panel. Yeah. So a lot of times they can't even ask a follow. They have to ask what's on the paper and then move on.
So there's no clarification.
A lot of times, yeah, there's not, because again, they have to keep it. They have to keep it standard for everyone. Some agencies still have that where they have that movement. They can do whatever they want.
Okay.
But like civil service and all that, they'll be very strict in saying that, yep, you've got to make sure that everything is the same for each candidate.
Okay. And here's a good one.
I love this one.
What's a good question to ask when they say, "Do you have any questions for us?"
Yeah, don't ask a question.
What?
Don't ask a question.
What if they're asking you for one?
This is my personal philosophy on it, because I sat on so many panels. In 3 years, I did the math. In 3 years, I think I did over 500 interviews in 3 years of entry level candidates. And every time someone said, because HR always made us say, "Do you have any questions for us?" And if someone asked a question, it was like fingernails on a chalkboard, because now you're asking an entire panel to answer one question that everyone should align with that answer, but you don't know, right? What do you find most enjoyable about this department? Oh God, you're on a time frame here. What are you supposed to do as a panel, right?
Yeah.
So what I always suggest to applicants is, if they get that question, "Do you have any questions for us?" I always tell them, just be very respectful. Say, "You know what? At this point, either I went on a ride along, talked to the recruiter or whatever. I don't have any questions at this time. However, I would like to just say that, I appreciate your time." And then just do a quick little summary of the highlights of what makes you that perfect fit for that department. "I love this department because you're intertwined with the community. I really want to be a member of the community. I saw you doing Shop with a Cop. I think that's a great thing. I really want to be embedded in this community." Whatever it takes to kind of summarize everything and do that final used car salesman pitch. You want to get that service warranty included, right? So do that little pitch. That way you're not putting that onus back on that panel and making them uncomfortable with having to answer a question. You're just wrapping things up. I haven't ever heard of a panel that would score you poorly for not asking a question.
Mm-hmm.
They will take it as, if you just say, "No, I don't have any questions, I'm good." and leave it at that. Give them
Really?
something. Yeah, give them something. Wrap it
Uh,
up.
he
Show me you're excited.
he or she, I don't know if El Pollo is a male or female, but anyways, all I asked was, when is your next academy? That is alls.
Yeah, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. I'm just telling you, I always liked it when people tried to sum things up.
So, are you there?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you
I'm here.
froze there for a minute.
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Look who's here. Chris is here. Chris, what up? Man, how's everything going on your end, Chris? Does community service really help the application process at all? What are your thoughts on that? You mean like
Did you commit a crime and you needed to serve community service?
or like volunteering? Is that what you mean?
I think that's what he means.
So I think that I've always told people, hey, try and get in the department, get your foot in the door by volunteering or doing something. That gets you known and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. The agency I was with, we had a strong volunteer group, and we had several of the volunteers move over to actually being officers.
Yeah. That I think that's a good thing. You get an internship, you volunteer, you know, and then when you apply and you put on your it goes in the job section because it's a volunteer, and then you put all these police officers and sergeants and lieutenants or whatever, and you put them down as references. That's the best thing ever.
Right.
So, was there a burglar breaking in?
My dog is protecting me.
That sounded like a big dog.
He's a big boy. He's a big boy.
I wouldn't want to be on the other side of that door when he starts barking.
Yeah, he's a big teddy bear.
What else have we not covered? Oh, look at that. Just passed my first RBC test today and still tracking. All right, good deal. I'm not familiar with RBC. Are you familiar with RBC?
I am not familiar with RBC.
I do not. Neither of us know. And Donovan has worked at the academy before. What is this? What is going on here, Donovan?
What?
There we go. No, that's not it.
What are you doing, Ken?
Don't even know.
What are you doing?
I'm
glad this is live.
Where is my button?
Regular basic course.
Oh, well, whatever. Let's do it. Regular basic course.
Regular basic course for California Post, at least.
How weird that my regular setup is not here. That's really strange. Whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay.
So now you're going to be there. That's the way it is. Regular basic. Good for you, man. I'm happy to. All right. Somebody, you just sold a book. Thank you, person. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So he was talking about volunteering, but what else have we not passed? Have we not talked about anything else? Anything else on your mind, Donovan?
No, I think we got it. I mean, the big thing that I always tell people is you gotta practice this. This isn't something that you can just go in and wing. You've got to do some practice. You got to do some prep work on it.
Oh, true that. And Donovan's book is available, and Donovan is available, and they can get you through your website. Let me pull that up again. prepforduty.com. And I would highly encourage you guys, if you're even thinking about, if you're not good at oral interviews, or you want to know, you want to kind of lock in your style for the oral interview, get a hold of Donovan at Prep for Duty. I just think that can go a long ways, because if the oral interview is a pass fail, all you got to do is fail it and you're out of the process.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Here's one. I'll put this one up.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Grabbed the wrong one. This one. There we go. Trouble knowing where to look during the interview panel.
Don't look in my eyes.
That's a tough one. When I would sit in front of an interview panel, it's tough. It's even tougher when you're doing a Zoom interview, because then you have no idea where to look.
Oh yeah.
But my suggestion is, if you're doing an interview panel in person, and you're starting to answer a question, if if each person on the panel asks a question, start by looking at that person and then continue to scan the panel as you're asking questions. He just added more now. He said he had 6 people in one interview panel.
Holy cow, that seems like overkill.
I'm going to tell you that's tough there. But again, it's one of those where start with the person that asked the question, and then start scanning everyone that you're talking to, so that you keep them all. If you don't look at them, they don't feel like they're part of that conversation. So make sure that you are making eye contact with them as you're answering. And it's no different than if you're going to go up and do a stand-up act, right? As a comedian.
Well, this is a good one here. I ask whoever asked the question.
Yep. But if you just focus on that person, then you do run that risk of not including those others just by that quick glance or whatever. So that's why I say scan the panel. Start with that person who asked the question, then start scanning everyone as you're talking, so that you bring everyone into the conversation.
Are there any differences between like an in-person interview and, say, you had 6 people in a Zoom interview? Are you like moving around the screen, or what are you doing?
Well, no, you shouldn't move around the screen, because it comes down, they don't know who you're looking at on the screen. You look at the camera, and that's the difficult part, is who to look or how to look in a Zoom interview. It's a completely different thing for us. My recommendation is always, if you can get a camera that kind of sits almost in the middle of your screen, and then you can look straight at that camera while you're talking, it's more natural that way. But if you're looking at a screen and you're moving your head around because you're talking to everyone, they don't know who you're looking at, because they don't know what your screen setup is. So just try to look at a Zoom interview, look at the camera in person, start with the person who asked the question, and then start scanning around.
Are they doing that very much, or is everything mostly in person?
Man, I've heard a lot of it. I've heard a lot of Zoom interviews.
Did they go?
Yeah.
Did they go to that during around the time of COVID?
COVID, yep. COVID brought it up big time. When I was with my agency, we would use, I don't know if you remember this, Skype.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we would use Skype for lateral officers who were not in state. That's the only time we would ever do anything video. But nowadays, I mean, so many departments are just, they just do, even local. If you have someone local, they'll still do a Zoom interview, and I don't like that.
Park police, is that federal or is that state park police that you're talking about?
He says United States, yeah. So,
well, that one, that's a federal agency, so they have to have everybody fly out, or they'd have to do all that stuff. So that would be virtual too, yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, interesting. Oral interviews are just a conundrum for me. I was doing later on in my career, when I was interviewing for promotions, I was doing better. Let's see here. My federal interview scenario was based, or my federal interview scenario based and scored based on logic and decision making. Mine was in person. What does that mean?
They want to see how you problem solve, your problem solving abilities. You don't need to know like specific police work. They want to see how you work through a problem. They want to see the steps you take, decisions you make. Make sure that you're making a decision. When we talk about decisions, you always got to look at what is going to be the best decision in the eyes of the department. Are you looking out for what's best for the department? So
USPP protect
police,
USPP
United States Park
Park Police. FLETC.
Yep, FLETC.
Is that in Georgia? Glencoe?
Glencoe, yep.
We've had candidates that have interviewed or done interviews on the podcast, and they went to FLETC. And Donovan, I never knew so much about FLETC before we started doing the interviews, but they seem kind of hardcore.
They are hardcore, yeah. They really are. It's a great place to go, from what I hear. I didn't go.
Yeah. Well, shoo. What else is on your mind, Donovan?
There's not a whole lot on my mind. I think I just data dumped it.
I figured out what went wrong with the screen, with the scanning the QR code up there. It messes with that. So I never had to worry about that, but now we know.
Now we
So,
know.
any last second, any last minute questions that anybody has, throw them out there. We'll answer them. Also, later on, when people get in here, we have been doing very well getting subscribers to the channel. So tell your friends about us. We do these all the time. Also, if you want a topic to be covered, just go ahead and let us know. And let's see here. We have another one.
Those are some good questions.
Local SoCal PDs often ask, why did you apply for our agency over LEPD and LASD? Tell us about yourself. What's the answer to that, Donovan? Why did you apply to us instead of, some of the big places?
If you're answering that one, you better make sure that that's the agency you want to work at, first off. But I mean, if it's LAPD, LASD, maybe your response is something that you don't want that big of a police department. You want to know everyone you're working with. You'd rather be a name than a number. There's so many ways you can do it to make it more localized. That's an agency that's more accepting of or knowing personally who you are.
What about this one?
Skills that would help you on the job. Again, skills. Anyone who's in retail, sales, anything like that, you can start talking about communication skills, de-escalation skills, anything that you're learning out there. Just figure out, listen for the buzzwords when media is talking, what they expect from law enforcement. They expect us to be able to de-escalate situations. If you're a manager of a business, if you're in sales, if you're in security, you're already working on your de-escalation skills. So that you can bring that right away. Report writing. Are you a good writer? Man, I can write things that are really well legible. People understand them. It doesn't take me a lot of time. So there's a lot of things that you can talk about when it comes to the skills.
Okay. And not sure how to. Did you ever try to read interviewer body language?
I would say don't read interviewer body language, because if you tried to read mine, you'd be thrown off, because again, I just tried to stay very stoic through the whole thing. Didn't give any read as to what they're trying to figure out. Hey, what's he saying? Again, people said, man, I thought you hated me during that interview. I'm like, no, you had one of the best interviews. I'm like, why'd you act like that? Treat everyone the same.
But also, you guys, when Donovan says that, he was a motor cop, and there's that meme that goes around. It has like 8 photos of the same motor cop's face. He goes happy, sad, angry. It's all the same photo, all the same face.
That was me. I will tell you though, I did work with a guy who, in the middle of the interview, if he got bored, he would spin his chair around.
Just with him in it?
Yeah, he would spin it around and put his back to the candidate. He's like, I'm done.
What?
No one HR was in the room. I'm looking at HR like, what's going on here? Are you allowed? Because I wasn't running the interviews at that department. I'm like, what is this okay?
They allowed it. Makes sense.
Yeah.
That seems very immature, Donovan.
Yep. Brandon's Outdoor Channel is going to have to listen to the recording, because we talked about greatest weakness already.
Greatest weakness. That is so cruel. He's asking you. Tell us your greatest weakness.
What my greatest weakness is?
No, he's saying that's a question.
I know. Yeah, we talked about that.
He might be just saying that one of the questions that he got.
Oh, got it.
But we did address it earlier. I don't remember when. But these are all great questions. We appreciate you guys very much too. And at least we know your weaknesses.
Uh-huh.
I have ADHD, but that's a medical issue, so we don't want to.
Yeah, they'll shut you down quick on that one. They should.
Oh, it's funny, man. We hope you guys are enjoying this. We have a lot of the same people that come back on Mondays, and Rob will be back not next week, but the week after, and we can find out what's going on with him. And you're so welcome. We appreciate you very much for asking the questions. I know there's a lot of channels out there that talk about police backgrounds, what you should do if you want to be a cop, and all this kind of stuff. And we appreciate you guys coming to see us, because I think we give out some good information. If you have any questions for us, we do these live, because that way you can ask us in real time and find out what the answers are. So, Donovan, you have anything?
I don't. This was a lot of fun. You know me, I like talking oral board interviews. So
That's your thing, man. So get a hold of Donovan and get a hold of me, policebackground.net. Let me see if I throw that up there because it's important.
Throw it up again. Come on.
You can get a hold of us at any time, 24 hours a day at these websites. And with that, Donovan, thank you so much for being here again. And we will catch everybody next week.